Hey guys, it's Rose Millay and I'm depressed. Now I know a lot of people in the past have accused me of faking my depression, and if you're one of those people and you still think I'm faking my depression, then at this point I would just suggest maybe not watching this video because I just don't want that kind of energy around here. I don't know, I'm trying to be more positive, I guess. In the past, I definitely have said some stuff that I regret. I've gone over that many, many times. I don't feel like this needs to be another time where I address this. But the point is, I'm going to be talking about some stuff that I've been dealing with mentally. And, I kind of don't feel like I want people to be like, oh, you're not going through, oh, you're not actually depressed. Because I just feel like, regardless of how you feel about me, that's just not something to say to somebody. So, I have been dealing with basically being depressed, and I don't know why. I can pinpoint to certain moments in my life that I think could be a cause of depression, but I don't know if it's that simple, because a lot of the things that I originally thought, were causing my depression, I've been through them. So it's either that, I'm still traumatized from that experience or those experiences that I had, or maybe there's just something that is causing me to be depressed no matter what situation I'm in. And if that's the case, then, what do I do? It's this weird feeling of, I don't feel happy. I don't know how to explain. Like, I can at moments when I'm like really invested in something. There are brief little periods where I can just sit down and enjoy myself. But usually, even then, I'll be ridden with like so much anxiety that I get like scared to talk to people. I get scared, because, oh, what if I say the wrong thing? Oh, what if people hate me? And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I always worry way too much when in reality I think what happened was when I was younger, I put myself out there a lot. And I was a very social kid. I had a lot of friends, and, everyone pretty much liked me as a kid, with the exception of maybe like a few people, but even then it wasn't that bad. As a kid, things were pretty good for me. But I guess over the years, I tried to socialize with people, and I think I had a few specific moments in my childhood where I got scarred, where people pushed me to put myself out in situations that I wasn't comfortable in. I remember one specific situation where I was asked to talk to strangers, and it didn't go particularly well because I didn't know them, and I'm like, this is gonna be awkward. I don't know these people. What are you doing? And it was just, I don't know, it's just kind of like a lack of communication, I guess, is how maybe I'm not making myself clear. Maybe this is off topic. But the point is, I just get so nervous, and it's kind of, made me stuck in this situation. And I feel like I have hope for the future because, for the longest time, I was overweight. I was 230 pounds at my peak. I was obese. And then I literally did nothing but like eat less, eat smaller meals, and just like walk around college to get to my classes. And that alone, I went from 230 pounds to 157 at my lowest. I'm 162 now, and I'm really trying to lose those 5 pounds again. I was like 160. I'm probably going to be like 161, 160 tomorrow. So I'm like about my lowest I've ever been. So that's a positive. And the odds were stacked against me. Most people don't lose weight like that when they get overweight or obese. So I'm just very thankful to have, made those healthy choices, to be on the right track. And now I just have to worry about like mentally, what do I do? Because, whatever's going on up here, whatever's making me depressed, it's interfering with, my ability to just live for years. I don't know if I said this publicly, But, you know, from the time I was 14, the time I was 18, I did nothing but sit in my room all day. And obviously that's going to have an impact on you. The only socialization I had was from the internet, and the internet socialization I had was not good. And I have a feeling that, you know, maybe I'll never recover from that. Maybe I'll never recover from the things, you know, that I've had to deal with. And that's kind of unfortunate. But, you know, obviously I have to have a little hope. I have to have a little faith that things will be okay. That I'll make it through this, and then I'll have friends once again. And I'll just like, you know, hopefully 5-10 years from now, I'll just be, you know, sitting and I'll just be thinking, wow, I've come so far. And you just kind of forget that, you know, you were at this point in your life. Like, I kind of just forget. Well, not to say that I forget, but like, I lived through most of my day forgetting how hard it was for me to just like walk because of how overweight I was. I forget, you know, just how many problems I had or just how unhealthy I was. Although, to be fair, like my blood tests and all that, like I was still technically healthy or fine. Like, I wasn't ideal. I was like borderline, like, okay, you should probably start to watch yourself. I was like at the very top of what was okay. So really, I wasn't like healthy. It wasn't good for me. But it wasn't, basically, had I kept that way, I would have gotten problems. And I was able to lose weight, luckily, before I had any real problems, because I am still pretty young. I'm 19 years old. Thank goodness. Um, hopefully, I had my heart checked out. They said everything was fine. Had a bit of a scare when I was 17, and this was like a week or two after I got into some drama online. Part of the reason why I was offline for a year. Another part of the reason was because I was kind of doxxed a bit, or that's a story for another day. But, you know, just thinking about all the positive, you know, changes that I've made. And to think that my depression is still lurking there. It's just kind of made me feel like I've done this. I've done all these positive things for myself. What can I do to fix this? What can I do to not be so depressed? What can I do to just live life and enjoy things again like I used to? Because I remember being a kid and I didn't have these issues. You know, it's funny because when I was 11 years old, I thought I was like 13, but my mom recently told me that I was actually 11 when this all started. I was suicidal at 11 years old. And it's funny because at the time, you know, no one would have thought anything if you were looking from the outside. I was a happy kid in a pretty privileged family. And I didn't have any issues at home. My parents they didn't do anything wrong. They were maybe a little overprotective, but if that's the worst that I have, then I really don't have much to complain about. You know, my life was pretty good. So, you know, why was I suicidal at 11 years old? I don't know. I mentioned this in a comment somewhere. From kindergarten to third grade, I was in a private school. Now, I had horrible asthma at the time. Thank God my asthma was cured when I was 7. But it used to be horrible. Like, my parents wouldn't allow me to like go to friends' houses. They wouldn't really allow me to socialize with people because they were worried that if I did, I was going to have an asthma attack and I could die. And I almost did on several occasions. I'm very lucky to still be here today, and I don't take that for granted. So, and I'm sorry this is turning into a sob story. I really want to talk about this. And so it's from kinder. I didn't even realize this at the time. I was like a young kid. I didn't know what was going on with me. To think it was that serious, and I had no idea. But anyway, Up until I was 8 years old, I was at that private school. And from 7 to 8, I had one good year in my life. And it was, I remember specifically it was third grade because everything, my life had peaked at that point. I was 8 years old. I had done really well on this test where it's like all the private school kids in the country take a test, and I got a 51 out of 60. And, I was a third grader. They had 10 high school questions on that test, and I got a 51 out of 60. So it tied me for the highest score in the nation. There's other people who got that score, but no one got a score higher than that, if that makes sense. And I was just like really impressed by it. Like I had, a few kids, because I was doing math 3 years ahead. I was doing 6th grade math in third grade. So I knew people who got like a 48 or like a 47, but a 51 was like, oof, I don't know. But I don't know, that's just one thing. I was having a lot of fun. I had a lot of friends from playing chess. I had a lot of fun just socializing with people. I was like, I knew everyone in my class. I wasn't like friends with everyone, but I just got along with people. And it was good. I don't know how to translate that into like, all I can say is I felt normal. I felt like things were working for me. Probably how most people just feel in their daily lives and they just don't really think about it. So then what happened is I moved out of the private school, and it wasn't really a choice of my own. And it's funny. It kind of was my fault. Well, I don't want to blame. I was like 8 years old at the time. I didn't know any better. 3 things for this. And one was, my dad had a job scare, even though it turned out to be fine. He didn't lose his job. We were just kind of worried for a bit, and it turned out, oh, he's fine. So, and then the other thing was my sister had gotten bullied at the school, which was unfortunate. I wasn't really bullied. I was bullied later on, but I'll get into that. But because of that, it was just like, okay. Which I'm just like, you could have taken her out and not me, but it was also the financial stuff. And to be fair, I had also told my parents, like, it was so stupid. I would watch these shows. I'd watch these shows on TV. And in these shows, you'd have this American public school life, or I don't know what it was at the time. All I know is my 8-year-old self saw that I was in this school for like really smart people. And I was just like, I don't feel normal. I want to just live a normal life like these other kids I'm seeing on TV. I don't know what it was. But I felt sad that I was having, an experience that wasn't like most other people. I wasn't, couldn't relate to the people on TV. And it's stupid, but, I was 8 years old, so I don't really, I can't really blame 8-year-old me for this. But I wanted, like, I don't know what it was. I would see, these shows, and they have, like, the locker rooms, and I'd just be like, whoa, that's so cool. You have a locker. We don't have lockers. And then we had to, like, they had no lunch at the school. Like, we had to bring our own lunches. My parents would bring me lunches. And that's just pretty much the case for everyone there. Because, we all could afford it. And I'm not, like, that's just honestly, like, my life. So I go to a public school for 4th grade. And I don't want to sound like, and I really, I know this might come off the wrong way, but I just want to be honest with you guys here. It was just easy. And the reason it was easy is because at my private school, they pushed me to be the best that I could be. They literally individualized it for every person who went there. So, like, if you weren't pacing with other people, if you were excelling, they would push you to your limits. And that's why I was able to, do 6th grade math in 3rd grade. I believe I was at like a 12th grade reading level. I can't say exactly which year it was, but it was before 5th grade. I was at a 12th grade reading level. I don't, it might have been 5th grade that I was at 12. I don't even know. I just thought it was, at the time I was like, oh, well, they just put up the levels to be nice. I